Hello, this is Crystal Racing, about to do the qualifying watch along. Of course, McLaren once again are expected to get pole position. And of course, Lando Norris, would he get second place? I don't know. The man is very hit and miss. To be honest, it's not like the field has changed an awful lot in the past 6 days since the Bahrain Grand Prix. Yeah, I mean, I know it's been 3 days, but I'm still gobsmacked what I saw in the football, really, with Real Madrid absolutely going to pieces. But we're not here to talk about football. We're here to talk about the Formula One, where, of course, free qualifying will begin. And 18 minutes will be the length of Q1. Of course, I am going to wait for a bit of time to pass for everyone to join the stream. And of course, with it being Q1, I will be giving people a bit of time to join the stream because, of course, most drivers only join the track in about, 5 or 6 minutes into the session. Hello to 11 people watching. We have only just started qualifying. No one has registered a lap time yet. But the 2 Williams drivers, Alonso and the 2 Alpines, have joined the track. Of course, the slower cars want to get their laps done ASAP. So, yeah, obviously the faster cars, the Red Bulls, the Ferraris, Piastri have stayed in the pits, although Lando Norris and Hamilton have just joined the track. So, funnily enough, I think there's a lot of cars who want to get a move on already. How long is Q1? It is 18 minutes long. Of course, we have already completed the first 2 minutes of Q1, so there is officially less than 16 minutes to go. And of course, if you can cross the checkered flag before the clock hits 0, you will be allowed to complete your final qualifying lap, if you are on a qualifying lap, that is. I mean, I'm thinking about 2 minutes' time, we will be seeing a few lap times registered, as long as, of course, the drivers do not exceed track limits around this Jeddah track, this street track in Jeddah. Very fast, but the barriers are very close to the cars around the circuit. It is a very demanding circuit with a lot of high-speed corners and a lot of heavy braking zones in hot temperatures. Of course, the track temperature is 38 degrees Celsius, and there is a bit of wind about 3 kilometers to the west. Yeah, Red Bull obviously are in big trouble. They wanted to bring some car upgrades, but due to the fact that there's already been about 6 days in between this qualifying session and the last race in Bahrain, they couldn't bring the upgrades in time. And look, the 2 Haas already set their lap times, and Bearman has set something of a marker there with a 29.167, but Doohan goes quickest. Oh, blimey, this is coming in very quickly. Albon's gone quickest, gone under the 1 minute 29s. Hulkenberg has completed a great lap. Doohan beats both Saubers and Bortoleto. And we're only about listed. Well, we've only just completed over 4 minutes of Q1, and it seems to be everyone is very keen to make sure they get banker lap in, because I presume a lot of teams are quite worried that there will be a red flag in the last 5 minutes or so due to the tight nature of this street track in Jeddah. 64 career wins for Max Verstappen. I presume you are correct because you are very good at statistics. Harry Maguire, well, what a game that was between Manchester United and Lyon on Thursday night. That was probably one of the best games of football, probably this entire European football season, to be honest. What a game. That, oh my word. Man United actually went into remontada mode. That's how you do a remontada. And of course, I think you all know who I'm throwing shade at. Lando Norris goes fastest, unsurprisingly. I mean, that McLaren is a rocket ship. You woke up your neighbours after Maguire's winner. Oh my god, yeah, but to be fair though, wow, it was like Fergie era Man United all over again. You know, when you could just never count United out back then. You just couldn't. No matter how rubbish United were playing, they would always find a way back into the game. Always. But yeah, Leclerc, Hamilton, second and fourth. Although it is about half-second gap between Leclerc and Norris, so I don't know. I mean, Astro Steve on Chaz's stream said that Hamilton qualified third, which I think is a pretty bold prediction, considering that I have been on record saying that Lewis Hamilton's qualifying speed has expired, is past its sell-by date. He's still very quick in race trim, obviously, but I mean, Leclerc has absolutely bullied him when it has come to qualifying so far. At the age of 40, you don't really. It's very hard to recover that qualifying speed at all. Yeah, but we're only 25 years into this century, my friend. So it's not like, and you have to realise that since you don't get drivers getting deleted or like horrible injuries like we saw in the 20th century, like I think there's already been like just under about 100 drivers who have raced in F1 since 2000. So compared to like at least I think was it 650 guys who've raced, was it 650 odd drivers in the 20th century and about just 50 years worth of racing. Verstappen, very good lap there. Oh, but he's been beaten. But both he and Norris have been beaten by Piastri. But Verstappen is only just over a tenth slower than the two McLaren effort, while Tsunoda is just under 3/10 slower than his Dutch teammate, which is pretty good for Yuki, considering this is only his third weekend driving a Red Bull. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda has been a lot closer to Verstappen than Lawson ever was, so it raises some huge question marks over the Red Bull management. Why did you start the season with Lawson in the second seat? Like, it's I mean, we all know it really come down to the fact that this is Red Bull's last season using Honda engines until Honda depart to Aston Martin next season. Politics at play yet again in F1. Russell for fastest. Obviously, Russell is quick in qualifying. No one's ever doubted that. And unfortunately for Ferrari, well, their cars have now dropped to 6th and 9th with Alpine in front of Hamilton. And Hadjar's overtaken Hamilton. Oh, dearie me, this is Hamilton's qualifying speed is absolutely dusted. But I mean, if there's anything to assure him, I mean, at least he's in front of Alonso, who is, oh dear. I mean, it seems to be every team that Alonso joins ends up turning into Team Slow Grand Prix racing or something. I don't know what the hell goes on at Aston Martin. Like, it seems like There's always this black cat that follows Alonso too, no matter what team he joins. Ever since like the start of 2007, there's always a problem, whether it's with the team boss like Ron Dennis, whether it's his teammate like Ocon and Hamilton. Yeah, absolutely true. Whether it's I don't know, someone a rival driver like Petrov or Grove holding him up or driving him off the road. Whether it's because he's, I don't know, having an absolute strop at the Ferrari management, whether it's Honda building GP2 engines, and whatever the hell is going on at Aston Martin, which I can't work out. There's always a reason why Alonso just always something wrong with the team or the car or oh god. I mean, we have to remember Manuel Fangio was 46 years old when he last won the World Championship in 1956 for Maserati. So, and in about less than 18 months' time, Alonso will turn 45 years old. So, someone really needs to have a word with Alonso now because, look. Oh, yeah, because Vettel became a champion for the first time. What a moment that was for Formula One. Became the youngest world champion to this day. I mean, let's be honest, that could be the ultimate unbreakable record, along with, of course, Vettel becoming the youngest double and youngest triple world champion and youngest quadruple world champion. Those records by Vettel could well last for, I don't know, at least half a century. Maybe even longer than half a century. You know, I mean, Fangio has the record for, I think, the oldest double, triple, quadruple, and quintuple world champion in F1 history, along with being the oldest quadruple consecutive world champion in the sports history. Norris lowers his lap time to a 27.8. Yeah, both McLarens are safe, really. I don't think anyone's going to catch them. Let's go to the drop zone. Lawson, yet again, down in 16th. Gasly needs to get a move on. Look at that. Hamilton's down in 18th. Oh, my God, Hamilton. What did I say about Hamilton struggling in qualifying? Ocon and Bortoleto are definitely going to set on another lap. Hamilton goes up to 10th. Hamilton has responded accordingly, and now Doohan is in the drop zone. Of course, Colin Pinto is waiting in the reserve seat, so he better get a move on too. Interestingly enough, though, Lawson has only completed what looks like one flying lap so far. Hello, John Cartier. I hope you're doing well this evening. I've been struggling a little bit with hay fever with my neck and some of my parts of my body going all red and itchy. So it's not been like I've been feeling too well recently, I'm afraid. But I hope you are doing well. Yes, I did see the news. Bodo Glimt become the first Norwegian side to qualify for the Europa League semi-finals. Congratulations to Norwegian football. Wow, beating Lazio as well. Wow, that's absolutely impressive. Lazio, who I think have had quite a lot of success in European football. Oh yeah, Man City. Yeah, well, they're just focusing on qualifying for the Champions League. So, I mean, to be honest, I mean, with only the FA Cup being the other competition they're in, I don't think with obviously Mamouche, what's his name, Nico Gonzalez, and of course Kuzakov joining the team. I think Pepper sort of rectified some of Man City's problems. I think, City will probably get a new team next year and they'll be okay again. Can't really say the same for Real Madrid, who, of course, are committed to trying to make the likes of Mbappe, Vinny, and Bellingham and Rodrigo work as a team, which honestly is not going to work. And to be honest, I think things are about to get worse for Madrid next season. But as we are the bottom five, I beg your pardon, sorry for going off the tangent on about football. the bottom 5 need to get a move on. It's not changed for the past 3 or 4 minutes. Doohan, Lawson, Gasly, Ocon, and Bortoleto are really... Oh dear, Alpine's Renault engine is really costing them KPH down those straights this weekend, which is why Briatore decided to do the deal with Mercedes for a new engine deal next year, which means that Alpine will not be a factory team in 2026, which is, I think, a pretty wise decision, because it means that they can probably spend more money and resources on their 2026 chassis instead. I know there were very angry protests down at Renault's factory in France, but it is what it is. And the fact is, Renault don't have, they don't supply engines to any other teams, so really they're kind of on the short straw, really. Oh yeah, I saw that. Official minis cartoon by that Spanish guy where, I don't know, I can't even remember, like Kimi became a simp lord or something funny. But meanwhile, the younger Kimi Antonelli is currently sitting in 9th place in the qualifying order for Q1. Okay, fair enough, yeah. Okay, Bodo Glim, yeah, but you still got to realise it is a huge result for Norwegian football, considering I don't think any Norwegian side has ever been to a semi-finals of any European competition, so yeah, well, but we have 2 minutes remaining of Q1 to go, and the bottom 5 need to get a move on. They're in trouble. I mean, Alpine are in serious trouble. I know they scored 6 points last time out with Gasly, but I think they're only in 9th or 10th place in the constructor standings. So, and we all know that Renault are desperate to sell the team as ASAP. So they need to get results, because obviously Briatore is in charge of trying to find the highest bidder to take charge of the team. Because Renault, I honestly believe, are done with Formula 1 for good, and I don't see Renault ever really returning to F1, because I don't really think F1 brings them any real commercial benefits. Like, oh, Doohan's gone to 13th. Gasly, what the hell was Gasly doing? Like, oh my god, come on. Oh my god, Gasly's already got just over 60 seconds to I don't know, potentially try and reach the checkered flag and complete the next lap, but he hasn't even got out of sector 2 yet. Oh my word, we've only got 52 seconds left. What's going on? Oh my god, I mean, Bearman's now Bearman's in the drop zone. That's both horses in the drop zone. My god, Gasly, get a move on, mate. You've got 36 seconds. Lawson's out of the drop zone. That's Hulkenberg in the bottom 5. Come on, Gasly. He's coming out of turn 24. He's heading for turn 25. God, he's only got 25 seconds to get to the checkered flag and start his qualifying lap. I mean, I'm seeing his sector 1 and sector 2 times. They're both green, so he's going quickly, but is he going quickly enough to get out of Q... to get into Q2? Yes, he has. That is P9 for Gasly, and he should be through to Q2, which leaves both Saubers, Ocon, Doohan, and Lance Stroll in the bottom 5. Ooh. Doohan, I don't know. Is he going? Oh no, he's not. He's not improved his sector 1 or sector 2. I think Doohan's out of Q1. Hulkenberg hasn't improved either. He's definitely out. So that might well be it for Q1. I think obviously the clock's gone to 0. I mean, I don't see Doohan's entering the pits. Yeah, so that should be the bottom 5, really. I mean, time has ran out for it. Oh, Hamilton's gone faster, but, well, it's not like Hamilton needed to improve his lap. It's gone up to P9, a bit of a... I don't know what Hamilton's doing. Is he... I don't know. I suppose he's probably doing an extra qualifying lap as practice for Q2 and 3, maybe, but that's a bit weird to see. Yeah, so that's your bottom 5. Stroll, Jack Doohan of Alpine. Jack Doohan is under real pressure. I mean, what's that? 3 tenths slower than Gasly. Yeah, Jack, you're in real trouble, my friend. You are in real trouble, Alpine. Stroll, less than a tenth slower than Hadjar. Okay, fair enough. Racing reviews. Is that a guy who... Oh, yeah, I know. He used to do like F1 reviews, Formula E reviews. I don't know. Ocon. What a... Well, that's... Ocon half a second slower than Bearman. Oh dear, Esteban Ocon, mate. You're not I mean, that guy's not proving to be a particularly great team leader now, is he? Bortoleto slowest, but you know, Sauber have probably got the slowest guy on the grid, but he's only about 4 races into his F1 career, so still a lot to learn for the Brazilian F2 champion. I think, truth be told, I think, except for Ocon, I think the bottom 5 looks like what most people expected it to be like. Having said that, track temperature remains at 37.8 degrees Celsius. The wind speed has slowed down a little to about 1.8 kilometers per hour northwest. Now we're on to Q2, where 15 cars will try and make it to the Q3 top 10 shootout. Although I will say, though, the junior RBT will be a bit concerned about their lack of speed. 14th and 15th, it doesn't really bode well for Lawson and Hadjar. Alonso is probably a likely Q2 victim, to be honest, because Aston Martin's car is monstrously slow this weekend with lack of straight line speed once again. Bearman, even though he's doing a great effort, will probably get knocked out in Q2, which means that I think it could be a battle between pretty much everyone else to avoid that 11th place spot with... For some reason, I get the feeling Sainz will end up in 11th place and will be the odd one out from the leading teams. And I think Gasly will probably take his place in Q3. I mean, I'm trying to look at a gap. I mean, it's very close between the top 10. I think it's only listed 7 tenths of a second separating Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly. Only 8 tenths separating Max and Bearman. That is so close. To be fair, what's it? Stroll was listed a second slower than Max, but with F1 being so much closer now, I mean, that's not enough to get into Q2 anymore. Heck, I think even Doohan got within a second of Max, but even he's got out too, so... There's been rumours of a driver swap between Lando and Max. Yeah, well, I've been hearing of driver swaps between Max and Pierre Gasly, with apparently someone on YouTube speculating Max would end up at Alpine next season. I don't know. That would be one hell of a swoop by Flavio Briatore and what would probably be his last great act as a Formula One team boss or personnel. But I very much do not see Max ever wanting to join Alpine, no matter how much money they'll put in front of his face. But it would be one very interesting move, on one that many fans and pundits and people working with the sport will be surprised to see. Bearman is complaining about having too much rear grip during Q1, which is a bit odd. I can only presume that he's complaining about too much oversteer on his car, which, you know, obviously, if you do, if the rear end of the car overtakes the front end, then obviously you could easily class your rear end into the barriers, which is not ideal because the rear end encases the gearbox and the engine and the rear suspension. And just so you know, we are now about to begin Q2 with the two Saubers, Ocon, Doohan, and Stroll out of the session and cannot continue any further. Not that anyone was particularly surprised, except for Ocon getting knocked out. Oh my God, Antonelli had an amazing lap, by the way. I forgot about that. Lots of drivers struggling to keep their cars away from brushing the barriers here at Jeddah. Just so you know, we have now began Q2 with 30 seconds already elapsed on the board, with Albon being the first driver to venture out onto the Jeddah street circuit. It is very much night time here in Saudi Arabia, so Bearman is the next to enter the track. Apparently, Albon is being told to follow a reference into Sector 1. Gasly's come out, but Hadjar's out. Like I said in like I said, it appears to be a lot of drivers are keen to get their banker laps in because, of course, they are all scared of a potential red flag disrupting the session due to the close proximity of the barriers to the racing line itself. A street track here. I mean, you know, I know Pierre Gasly managed to out-qualify Max Verstappen by default when he raced for Red Bull back at the Canadian Grand Prix 6 years ago, due to the fact that, Kevin Magnussen crashed out with about a couple of minutes to go, and that meant that Max got knocked out in Q2, and Gasly actually made it to Q3 for what was the only time in their time as teammates at Red Bull 6 years ago, because Max didn't complete his final qualifying lap. And that obviously taught Max a huge lesson that day. Barrick said that Fernando Alonso is going to be one of the favourites, along with the two RBs and Bearman, to get knocked out Q2. So I think if any of those cars can make it to Q3, that will be a bonus. A huge. And Albon goes quickest, 28.58. Very, very quick lap there by Alex, but not quite as quick as this Q1 lap, if we're going to be honest. Got just over 11 minutes to go, but Albon decided to get his qualifying lap in nice and early. And apparently Tsunoda is struggling to get the tyres up to temperature. But he has been pretty quick earlier on in his Red Bull career, so... Sorry. Yeah, Hadjar's doing a good job. I'm not sure Piastri and Norris are the second coming of Prost and Senna, we're going to be honest. But Gasly goes quickest with a 28.474. Bearman, 28.6. Hadjar, 28.6. Only slower than Bearman by 100th of a second. Sainz takes provisional pole. 28.3. Very, very, very efficient lap there by the smooth operator. Inevitably, Piastri takes the provisional fastest time with a 27.69. Oh, and Alonso with only a 28.66. Like I said, I would be very surprised to see Alonso advance to Q3, and he's proving my point. Aston Martin is toast. Antonelli with a 28.314. I don't think he'll be too impressed with that lap time. And Russell goes second with a 27.97. Verstappen quickest, 27.5. My God, Max is seriously on it this weekend, I've got to say it. After that, fairly abysmal showing at Bahrain, Max has definitely found a sweet spot in that Red Bull again. Leclerc fourth, 28.103. Hamilton second quickest, a lot better than last weekend with a 28.23. Tsunoda pips into fifth, but he is 6/10 slower than Max. Norris quickest, 27.48. We've got 8.5 minutes remaining of Q2. Everyone is keen to get their banker laps in to avoid being caught napping by the red flag if someone decides someone else has an accident. And here's the drop zone. Albon, Bearman, Hadjar, Alonso, and Lawson. Lawson still hasn't... Lawson, I think has had a lap deleted by the looks of it, because I've got no time there for Lawson. But look at that. I think Albon's only just over just 1.1 seconds slower than Norris, which proves how close the field is. So, as it stands, Albon, Bearman, Hadjar, Alonso, and Lawson are heading out of qualifying. I mean, I did predict at least one of the Williams could get knocked out. I mean, obviously, a bit of team tactics going on with McLaren slipstream, giving each other a slipstream down the straight to maximise their qualifying laps, giving each other the best top speeds possible through the straights. Since, of course, there is a lot of acceleration flat out so through this track. I mean, compared to Bahrain, where I think there's only about maybe the back straight and the home straight where you can slipstream your teammates, and that's it. And maybe the run down to turn 4. That's about it, really, at Bahrain. But it is Jeddah track. There's a lot of acceleration zones. Tsunoda is heading for the weighbridge, so yeah, he's going to probably lose a bit of time having to have his car and himself weighed. Albon ventures out on the track all by himself. Thank you for 2 likes. Of course, Albon is in the drop zone in 11th place. This is Q2. For those of you wondering who's been eliminated in Q1, Stroll, Doohan, The two Saubers of Hulkenberg and Bortoleto and Esteban Ocon's Haas went out in the first qualifying session. Yeah, obviously, in modern F1, you have to be able to qualify well, thanks to the dirty air effect and the fact that, obviously, cars don't really break down anymore. I mean, I could remember back in 2005, Italian Grand Prix, when, of course, that was the first Grand Prix in 44 years when all cars starting the race saw the checkered flag, with, of course, the red car Takei finishing 20th and last out of the 20 cars that started that day. I mean, that's such an amazing statistic to think that was the first race, excluding that year's American Grand Prix at Indianapolis, which obviously saw 14 cars withdraw before the first lap, finished the race. And since then, I mean, the retirement rate in the sport has decreased dramatically 20 years ago. Like, these cars are bulletproof. Like, even the so-called reliability problems of early 2014, when, of course, the hybrid engines made their debut, didn't have anywhere near as many retirements in the early races of 2014 like you would normally expect in an F1 race during the 90s or even the early 2000s. I don't think we've had a race since the 2008 Australian Grand Prix where fewer than 10 cars, or even fewer than 12 cars for that matter, saw the checkered flag. I mean, I think the Australian Grand Prix in 2008 saw only 6 cars see the checkered flag because, of course, Rubens Barrichello was later disqualified for a pit lane infringement. So, yeah, that is your bottom 5 right now. Gasly is now being pushed into the bottom 5 after a decent lap there by Albon, who's leaped from 11th to 6th place. So, Gasly will be keen to Gasly really should be getting out to the pits now, but he's not. And Alonso's still in the pit lane, so I don't know what's going on there. Bearman, Hadjar, and Lawson have departed the pit lane. I mean, yeah, but even though Red Bull had problems with their gearbox, I mean, Max still became a world champion, so I think Gasly's getting refueled for some reason, and now he's finally leaving the pit lane. Kimi Antonelli needs to get out of the pit lane too, to be honest. I mean, he's preparing himself for another flying lap, but he's on the bubble there, only less than 2 temps quicker than Gasly. Less than 2.5 minutes remain for Q2. Everyone needs to get a move on. Norris is provisionally fastest, and he's about almost a second quicker than Gasly. So, and he is staying in the pits because of that. So I think only Norris is really safe. And of course, Max, who's less than half a second slower, has actually departed the pits because I think he's actually quite worried about falling out of Q2. We have just under 2 minutes remaining. Gasly's got a nice Toby on Russell. This is some pretty decent work by the French Alpine driver. But both Russell and Gasly crossed the finish line to start their flying laps. And then he goes 5th fastest. 27.8. I think that could be enough for Antonelli to make it to Q3. Piastri improves to a third place with a 27.45. Only less than a second slower than Norris. Sainz up to 6th. Albon returns to the pits. Verstappen, what's he going to do? Stay second. Bearman stays in 12th. Gasly needs to get a move on because he is about to be heading out Q2 as it stands. Hadjar improves to 11th place. 17 seconds remaining. Gasly saying a green sector 1, a green sector 2. Lawson makes it to 10th place. Lawson escapes the drop zone. Hamilton is 11th. Hamilton in trouble. Hamilton, green sector 1 for Hamilton, but he doesn't improve on sector 2. What can he do? Hamilton's 8th. Hamilton 8th. Hamilton improves to 8th place. Where's Gasly? Gasly, green sector 1, green sector 2. He's up to 8th place. Tsunoda's in the drop zone. Tsunoda needs to get a move on with the 2 RBs also heading out Q2. Bearman 14th and Alonso 15th. I think those two are done. What can Alonso do? He only improves to 13th. Alonso is out Q2. Tsunoda, what can he do? He's in trouble here. He improves to 7th, which means Albon is out of qualifying 2. Obviously, Albon is sitting in the pits, and I think that's pretty much it for the guys in 11th to 15th place. That's Albon, Lawson, Alonso, Hadjar, and Bearman out of Q2. I think I pretty much got my predictions correct, except for Albon getting knocked out, with Sainz making it through instead. So that's pretty spot on from me. Not much difference there between Q1 and Q2 in terms of the pecking order, to be honest. But Gasly does make it to Q3. Despite driving an Alpine car that has something of an engine power deficit due to Renault being Renault. But nonetheless, he was only just over half a second slower than Norris. Great qualifying lap. Oh, jeez. Yep, Alonso will be using GP2 engine next season. Having said that, though, Aston Martin have been struggling in practice, so it's not really a surprise to see Alonso 13th and Stroll 16th. Lawson finally out-qualifies his teammate for the first time this season, though, so I think Lawson will have a massive grin on his face after qualifying. It has been a difficult start to the season where he was dropped by the senior Red Bull team after the first 2 races at Australia and China, where he got knocked out Q1 in all qualifying sessions he did there. So yep, this is your bottom 10. Albon will start 11th for Williams. Lawson 12th for RB. First time he's out-qualified his teammates so far this season. Alonso did the best he could in 13th. Hadjar will be disappointed to start 14th. Bearman out-qualifies Ocon in 15th. Papa Stroll is going to have to try and bribe the other shareholders and try and make him the majority shareholder so that he doesn't get forced into dropping his son. Stroll starts 16th. 17th, Jack Doohan. More pressure for the Australian rookie. Hulkenberg will start 18th, and frankly, he did the maximum he could in that tractor of a kick me up the backside Sauber / steak. 19th, Ocon will be highly disappointed with himself, being out-qualified by such a huge margin by his rookie British teammate. And once again, struggling to live up to the pressure of being Haas team leader with, of course, Ayo Komatsu just days away on the verge of turning into Japanese Gunther Steiner if he's not careful. And, of course, Brazilian rookie and Formula 2 champion Gabriel Bortoleto 20th and last place. And Q3 will begin in less than 4 minutes' time. And now it's time to ask the question, who will take pole position around the Saudi Arabian track at Jeddah under the lights once again? And of course, it is predicted that we will have 2 pit stops tomorrow, with Perez bringing softer compounds for the race after complaints from drivers, teams, and fans that the tyres that we've had so far this season are just not grading enough to bring us more entertainment. And as we all know, of course, I think just like in Bahrain, only FP2 was a representative practice session due to FP2 being the only night practice session, which of course, qualifying at the race will be held under the lights with a pitch black sky as a backdrop. Of course, if I'm going to put any predictions, I think, you know what, I think I might go bold and say that Norris and Piastri will make the front row of the grid. Of course, whether Norris can actually get the job done tomorrow is another question in itself. And who will be 3rd place? I think I'm going to go for George Russell. 4th will be Verstappen, and then 5th will be Antonelli with Leclerc alongside him. And then the other 4 drivers, Tsunoda, Sainz, Gasly, Hamilton. It could be any order. I don't really care, to be honest, but I will predict Sainz will probably qualify 10th. 2 minutes ago till we start the top 10 shootout at Jeddah. And of course, I fully expect all 10 cars to immediately depart the pits with only 12 minutes available for Q3, because of course, this is a track that does have a lot of safety cars and red flags occurring due to the close proximity of the barriers to the racing line. So yeah, I think everyone is getting refueled, getting their tyres ready, getting everything pumped up and ready. I apologise, I just missed out what you said. Can someone put a thumbs up in the chat, because I just missed out what that person said because I was too busy looking at the data in front of me. 60 odd seconds to go. Okay. I throw a curveball. Lando first, Max second, Oscar third, and George fourth. That's going to be interesting. And Max on the front row. That's going to be interesting. I mean, that sounds pretty similar to the Q2 order. I mean, Max qualifying at, my God, Lord, Max Verstappen, alien driving skills. That's all I can use to describe him right now. Like, how the hell is he getting that Red Bull so hyped the grid? I don't know. And that's why this season's championship is going to be an intriguing one, because you cannot discount Max Verstappen at any point in a championship season. And got to give credit to Tsunoda, like, it's pretty hard to hang in there with a teammate like Max. I mean, he broke Albon, he broke Gasly, and he broke Perez. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Q3 has begun. Okay, Q3 has begun. Piastri has departed the pits, and I believe that all 9 cars will depart the pits with him, because there's only 12 minutes in Q3. So if a red flag suddenly comes out, you're probably going to have your qualifying lap cancelled at any moment. So you better get a move on ASAP. 5 cars have already departed the pits within the first 40 seconds of Q3. Unsurprisingly, everyone is desperate to avoid an untimely red flag ruining their quali run at such a crucial part of this session. 6 cars are out on track, and only Gasly and the 2 Red Bulls are now sitting in the pit lane. 7 cars are out on the track here in Jeddah. Gasly has departed the pits with only the Red Bulls remaining sat in their pit box. I believe there's a lot of confidence with Red Bull by the fact that Max and Yuki are still sitting there. Max has left. We've already 9 cars out in the first 90 seconds. Only Yuki remains in the pits. Yeah, Yuki's now finally left within all of them leaving within 2 minutes, like I would say. With the barriers so close to the track, you cannot afford an untimely red flag. So Piastri will start his qualifying lap. Of course, many people have got Oscar as a favourite to get pole position and the win. With Lando and Max very close around him in the championship fight. Russell starts his quali lap. Antonelli will start it now. Oh my goodness me, that McLaren car is so quick this year. It's ridiculous. Makes me sick, to be honest. It makes me wish that Gasly was seeing that car, to be honest, right now. Purple sector 1 for Piastri, 31.885. $27.624 for Piastri in sector 2. Ridiculously quick. Gasly only a quarter away from starting his quali lap. Piastri is very close behind, so Gasly better get a move on. Piastri now about to complete his qualifying lap. Oh, it's yellow flag. Red flag, Piastri with a 127.56, but will that lap be cancelled because of a red flag? Lando spun. Lando has spun his car. Lando's... Oh, what did I say about Lando Norris? Bottle job yet again. Lando has bottled it yet again. I've seen it. Don't worry, John. Yep. What did I say about Lando? You know, honestly, it's almost like anticipating a mistake from Lando Norris is like anticipating a wild Ivysaur jumping out of the bushes at the wrong moment. That's what Lando Norris can be like. What did I say? I would rather trust a wild Ivysaur to get the job done in a McLaren than Lando Norris. That's just a fact, I'm afraid. I mean, I have more faith in telling a wild Pokemon Charmander not to burn my house down than Lando Norris making a mistake at the worst possible moment. Yeah, well, you know, as a Kimi Räikkönen fan, I don't like these sort of comparisons, but, you know, he does have that cool-headedness about him. Never ever starts panicking for any dumb reason, like who we just saw just then. So yeah, Oscar Piastri, what an impressive performance, and it just seemed as if that Lando Norris was probably staring up to one of the timing screens around the track, saw his teammate go on pole with a magnificent 27.56, and then the next thing he knew, he looked down at his steering wheel and realised that his front end was planted in the barriers. Lando Barrichello, sorry, Rubens Norris. Oh, I can't get his name right anymore. Oh dear. Well, that's why you can never trust Lando Norris. You just can't trust him at all. I mean, it seems to be when he's under pressure, his tires become more slippery than Pokemon Squirtle sliding down the jittery super slide water slide at your local theme park. Sorry, I just had to say it. Rubens Norris, I mean, oh my, I mean, someone asked me what is Lando's first name, and I thought, yeah, his real name is Rubens Lando. That's what his real name is. And then, of course, I told him what his actual name is. So, you know, I just, the joke's right itself with Lando Norris now. You've got to start feeling sorry for him because he just can't get it together mentally in his head. He just doesn't have that mental strength to be a top team driver, like, you know, kind of like Rubens Barrichello and Giancarlo Fisichella. They were absolutely excellent when they were in the midfield, getting podiums and just outperforming the car because, frankly, as long as all they had to do was to score lots of points for the team, they were your man. They were very reliable. Like Nick Heidfeld was another driver like who had that same sort of personality mindset. But when it comes to being that selfish number one, the guy who believes he's the best driver in the world, they start panicking and their hands start freezing up, and you can look at their faces. They're getting tense, they're getting nervous, they're clenching their fists, they're grimacing underneath that helmet, that visor they have, and they are not that guy. They're not that guy, I'm afraid. They're not that guy you can rely on to be the guy who believes he can be a world champion. You know, yes, they'll sit there and tell TV reporters that, yeah, I'm a future world champion, but really, do they have the concentration? Do they have the willpower and the self-belief to actually make themselves a championship contender? Sadly, the answer is no. We've got a red flag here, which means that I'm going to have to wait for my dinner a bit longer, but... Oh, Vettel is defending Norris. Oh, dear. Aston Villa are 2-1 up on Newcastle, which, of course, I don't know. Do Aston Villa have any chance of qualifying for the Champions League this year now that they're out of it? I don't know. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Good grief. I don't know. I think Lando Norris is probably that tall kid who, like, you know, he probably is a master of beating all the gym masters when you play a Pokemon game. But then when you actually, like, get him to fight against the best Pokemon trainers in the world at the final stadium battle, he bottles it just like Ash Ketchum. So, yeah, good racing driver, but not an excellent one. I don't know what Vettel said, so I think I'm going to have to check it out later on. I mean, Vettel became a four-time champion, but the thing with Vettel is that he did have a few moments, even when he was at Red Bull, where he did make quite a few mistakes under pressure. But the thing with Vettel is that even when he screwed up, he never gave up. He always, like, even if he spun his car or, like, suffered a tyre puncture after clipping someone's rear wing or something, he always turned around, flipped his visor down, and just gone on with the job, even when he messed up. And he would block out all the noise and still try and get the job done. He wasn't the perfect racing driver, no, but he always committed to trying to make amends for any mistakes he made. With Lando Norris, he's the sort of person who starts dwelling on his errors and he gets really upset when he screws up, and he is something of a perfectionist in his mindset, which can be a bit of a problem when you're a F1 driver because there's always going to be problems. Like, you know, there's going to be times when the front tires might not heat up. the brakes might not work as you want it. You might get a twitchy rear end. Oh right, Ash Ketchum won 2 titles, and I don't know. I stopped watching Pokemon once they revealed most of the original 151 characters, so I don't know. I don't know why I started thinking of Pokemon, but I've realised I haven't mentioned Pokemon on any of my streams. So I thought, why not mix it up for once? God, we've been having to wait a while. It's now I don't know, 8 o'clock European time. It's probably like 11 o'clock 11, 12 o'clock local time in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, we've had to wait quite a bit for about 10 minutes to get that McLaren cleared. Sadly for Norris, he's going to start the race in 10th place, which is why I always said it was going to be a bold prediction for me that Norris could qualify on pole or even 2nd place. You just can't trust him. Like, how the hell did he pull 6th place out of the bag last weekend? I don't know. I was just so gobsmacked at how slow he was. Let me think. Alonso won at Canada, Monaco in 2006. Where else did he win? He won Australia. I don't know. I can't remember. What other street tracks were there in 2006? I mean, by the way, there weren't that many street tracks in F1 between like 2000 and 2009, if I could remember. Australia, Canada, Monaco. Where else was there? I can't even remember anymore. Oh my god. Dude, if Max was singing that MCL 40, I think we would all fall asleep because he would just win every race. It would be like, my god, I mean, how many races did he win in 2022? Was it 50 wins or was it? No, I can't remember. All right. Oh yeah, Max Verstappen won 19 races in 2023. 19 races because he only lost 3 times. What was it? Finished 5th in the Singapore Grand Prix when Carlos Sainz became the only non-Red Bull driver to win the race, and then of course he lost out at Saudi Arabia and Baku to Sergio Perez. And to this day, Max Verstappen still hasn't won a race in Singapore. So it looks like, I don't know, maybe if Max Verstappen rivals want another way of trying to beat Max, maybe demand more races in Southeast Asia, Although having said that, though, he did win the 2017 Malaysian Grand Prix when Malaysia last held a race in F1 at Sepang. So, okay, that formula doesn't necessarily work, but don't know. Singapore just seems to be a circuit that Max cannot hack for whatever particular reason. But we've got less than 7 minutes remaining of qualifying. Only 3 cars have headed out on track, weirdly enough. So, I don't know. I think that red flag has been everyone's got out to rechange their tyres for the restart. So it starts his qualifying lap. Gasly will be coming up soon. Max is coming out of the final corner. That's interesting. Only 3 cars have come out so far after Norris's shenanigans. Meaning that the other 6 cars are, well, they're not happy with something. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Max gets 2 titles. I don't know what you're talking about there. I mean, I don't know what you must be feeling like as a Man United fan to see your team get beat 4-1 at St James's Park, only for Newcastle to be now losing 3-1 at Villa Park. So, what a strange well, to be honest, Man United just haven't been at teams for 12 years now, so Verstappen, purple sector 1, 31.829. I know Russell's sitting in the pit lane, but he did set the purple sector 2 with a 27.55. What's Max going to do? Sector 2, it's only a 27.71 though. So no, unfortunately, it looks like Piastri could be sitting on pole after this. Sainz goes second quickest, but it's only a 29.15. Gasly's up next. What can he do? He's not going to get pole, by the way. Oh, Gasly's pitted. Max, what's Max going to do? He goes fastest. 1,000th of a second quicker than Piastri. What a lap. What a lap. Wow. Just 1,000th of a second separates Max and Piastri for pole position. What a lap by Max, by the way. 4.5 minutes to go. Russell and Antonelli finally depart the pit lane. Along with Tsunoda. Wow, what a lap that is by Max, the alien from the Netherlands. Although, of course, he was actually born in Belgium, so, you know, we've got a bit of a nationality debate. I mean, Max is half Belgium. Lance Stroll is also half Belgium, and so is Lando Norris, surprisingly enough. Although, of course, only one of those drivers I've got what I would describe as being the clutch gene, and one of those other drivers is just a bomb who relies on his dad. But, goodness me, what a weird season of Premier League football we're having. I think enough to be said about that. My God, Max Verstappen even just rubbed one of his rear tyres onto the barriers and he still went fast. It's insane. The guy is not normal. And if you think Fernando Alonso would beat Max Verstappen in the Red Bull in recent years for the World Champion, I think you need to, like, maybe take a visit to the doctors or something, or, like, stop smoking whatever you're smoking, because no driver in the world right now is better than Max Verstappen. No way. McLaren Fan TV, oh my goodness me. I mean, McLaren Fan TV, what's more deluded? Arsenal Fan TV or McLaren Fan TV? Although I will say this, Real Madrid fans after Wednesday night, oh my goodness me, they were on meltdown watch. They were like on the verge of being sectioned under the mental health act on Wednesday night. Although to be fair though, I mean, I think I could have a few words to say about quite a few of Madrid players after those two legs, but Max is going out for one more qualifying lap. He's not comfortable. He doesn't believe he's done enough to get pole position, since of course it is only 1,000th of a second. Piastri is obviously out to try and get pole. Although of course Lando Norris once again will be sitting in the pit lane dwelling on yet another mistake. What a lap. What a lap. And it looks like I predicted Sainz would qualify 10th, but of course we all know Norris will probably take 10th place instead. That's a yellow flag in Sector 2. I don't know whether that's impeded Russell and Antonelli, but we shall see. I don't know what to say. I mean, after a performance like that, you can't rule out the Gooners to become first-time European champions. Oh, Russell, 27.407. What a lap. Antonelli goes fourth fastest. Russell on fire. Absolutely fantastic stuff there by the Norfolk driver. Mr. Saturday, as Crofty likes to call him. Tsunoda goes fifth fastest. But he is 6/10 slower than Max yet again, though. Huge gap between the two Red Bull boys. But Tsunoda did give Max a toe, so I mean, he is very much in the number 2 seat. Leclerc What's happening there? Leclerc goes 4th fastest. Hamilton, what can Hamilton do in the sister Ferrari? Only 6th. Only 6th. Oh my god, and once again he's half a second slower than his Monegasque teammate. Well, Gasly goes 8th fastest. Although I did predict correctly that Sainz would be the slowest driver to do a time lapse, so that's sort of half correct, but I didn't predict Norris would bottle it the way he did. Piastri, 27.3. Just seconds remaining of Q3, and Piastri takes pole position. I don't know what Russell is doing. Is he on a flying lap? No, he's not. He's going very slowly by the looks of it. Yeah, that's pole position for Piastri. What a qualifying performance by Piastri, responding to George and Max putting pressure on him. And as cool as a cucumber, he gets the job done. Well done to the Australian #1. Max! Oh my word. Oh my goodness me. I have ran out of vocabulary and superlatives to describe Max Verstappen. He is a motor racing Charizard, that Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen, dude, it's like, you know, imagine when you're a kid and you just can't help but envy the kid who somehow unwraps a special edition Charizard card in one of those super expensive Pokemon pack, those gold tinted Pokemon wrap card packs, and they get a Charizard. That is Max Verstappen. '42 pole position, holographic first edition Charizard, exactly. Unreal. That guy is just unreal. You took the words out of my mouth there. Oh my god. I mean, this is why 2025 is an intriguing season, because Max Verstappen is just putting out miracles left, right, and centre, and he's gone 9 tenths faster than Tsunoda. So, oh my god. I mean, dude, I don't think you could put anyone else in that second Red Bull. I mean, Max is just faster than everyone by, honestly, pound for pound, he is just easily the best driver. Like, Alonso would get humiliated by Max. It's just, it is what it is, folks. Max Verstappen is simply the best driver pound for pound in F1 as we speak. P7 for Lewis Hamilton, well, oh man, Lewis Hamilton is really slow in qualifying now. He's basically become a Kimi Räikkönen in his older years. Yeah, I think, yeah, Ferrari, just Ferrari, aren't they now? So, whatever. I mean, by the looks of it, I don't know. They're probably just there or thereabouts the 4th fastest car, depending on how much of an upgrade you think Max Verstappen up for Red Bull is. I mean, if Red Bull had another driver, maybe Ferrari would get Leclerc to 3rd place. I don't know. Yeah, well, I know Alonso fans like to delude themselves that he might still be somewhere near close to Max, but Max is an alien. I mean, Max is basically like one of those characters from like My Parents Are Aliens, which is like an old British children's sitcom that used to be shown on like ITV. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. But that's what Max Verstappen is. Like, you could probably stab a blade into his chest, and it would probably start bleeding green or something weird. You'd probably get all this weird green pus coming out instead of red blood. We are not dealing with a normal person. We are dealing with an alien. Sixth place for Sainz, very good lap. Very good lap. I didn't see that coming, by the way. Yeah, agreed. Yes, yes, indeed. I don't really have anything else to say, so I'll end the stream there. Thank you very much. I'll see you again next time.